Құрметті қонақтар, жоғары мәртебелі спикерлер, қайырлы таң. Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning and welcome to the Breakout session 2 of the VIII Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions. Our theme today, religions as a factor of sustainable world development, addresses humanity's most pressing challenges, from climate change to food insecurity, from economic turbulence to social fragmentation. The crises we face are global, complex, and interconnected. No single government or institution can solve them alone. What is needed is a collective moral compass, one that draws upon the shared values of compassion, justice, and solidarity that lie at the heart of all our religions. Kazakhstan leadership in convening this Congress demonstrates that interfaith dialogue is not merely an ideal, but a living practice, where spirituality meets responsibility and where moral authority is transformed into practical action. I am particularly honored to co-moderate this session with Dr. Rene Hattar, Director of Royal Institute for Interfaith Studies in Jordan. Dr. Hattar holds a PhD in peace studies and brings her extensive experience in intercultural dialogue and conflict resolutions. Her institute serves as a platform for promoting peace and mutual understanding across diverse religious traditions. Together, it's our privilege to guide today's discussion and to learn from the wisdom from our distinguished speakers. Yes.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, good morning once again. And before we go on, first of all, I'd like to thank His Excellency, the Ambassador, for the introduction. And before starting our panel, I would also like to introduce him more formally. Ambassador Breakout has been serving as Director General of the Islamic Organization for Food Security since April 2024. He is a seasoned diplomat. He has represented Kazakhstan in several countries and at the OIC as well, and also served as Vice Minister for Religious Affairs and Civil Society. Deeply involved in the Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions since its inception, he now continues this mission by linking interreligious dialogue with the global agenda of food security and sustainable development. Welcome to the session, and I think I'll leave the word to His Excellency to begin with the first panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hattar. Allow me to echo the words of the President, His Excellency Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, delivered yesterday. He underlined the invaluable contributions of religious community to achieving the sustainable development goals through humanitarian missions, voluntary programs, schools and hospitals, as well as support of youth, vulnerable groups, climate action, and migration issues. This recognition reminds us of the powerful creative potential of religions in the 21st century, potential that must be fully harnessed for the common good. With this inspiring vision in mind, it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished panelists whose insights will shape today's dialogue. Our first panelist is Dr. Nazir Muhammad Ayat, the Grand Mufti of Egypt and President of Supreme Council of the General Secretariat for Fatwa Authorities Worldwide. A graduate of Al-Azhar University with PhD in theology and philosophy, Dr. Ayat is a leading contemporary voice in Islamic thought. His work focuses on moderation, combating extremism, and integrating ethics, environmental stewardship, and social justice into religious discourse, earning him wide recognition in Egypt and internationally. We are honored to welcome Ms. Zulfiya Suleymanova, advisor to the President of Kazakhstan and Special Representative on International Environmental Cooperation. Formerly Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources, she brings extensive experience in climate diplomacy and leads Kazakhstan efforts to advance international cooperation on environmental sustainability. Joining us as well is Dr. Ibrahim bin Saleh Nuaimi, Chairman of the Doha International Center for Interfaith Dialogue. With a PhD in chemistry from the University of Southern California, Dr. Nuaimi has combined an outstanding academic career, including serving as the president of Qatar University, with visionary leadership in education and interfaith dialogue. Since establishing the Doha Center in 2007, he has championed dialogue as a cornerstone of peace, earning numerous international awards for his contributions to science, education, and civic engagement. Finally, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Wade Cusack, founder and CEO of Love Your Neighbor community in the United States. With a lifetime of work at the intersection of faith, community engagement, and social development, he has mobilized interfaith networks and grassroots initiatives that promote reconciliation, strengthen social cohesion, and address humanitarian needs, demonstrating how religious values can be transformed into practical action for sustainable progress. With this introduction, I am pleased to hand the floor to my esteemed co-moderator, Dr. Eni Hattar, who will kindly introduce our other distinguished panelists.
So we have with us as well today Mr. Saradar Muhammad Yusuf, the Federal Minister of Religious Affairs and Interfaith Harmony of Pakistan. I think he'll be a little bit late, so we will start with the rest of the panelists. We are also very happy to have Mr. Like Tigwan Tagai Tadele, and I hope I pronounced the name well, the Secretary General of the Interreligious Council of Ethiopia. Welcome. The Most Venerable Teach Tuk Tien, General Secretary of the Executive Council of the Vietnamese Buddhist Sangha. Nice to meet you, sir. And last but not least, we have Mr. Osvaldo Conde, who's a writer and member of the Theosophical Society and adherent of the Haqqani Naqshbandi Sufi order in Brazil.
So, dear participants, let us start our discussions today. ضيفنا الأول الموقر هو سماحة الدكتور نادر محمد عياد، مفتي ديار المصرية ورئيس الأمانة العامة لمجلس الأعلى للدور والهيئات الإفتاء في العالم. سماحة مفتي بصفتكم أحد علماء مرموقين في الفقه والفكر الإسلامي المعاصر، تقدمون التوجيه لملايين المسلمين حول العالم. وقد أكدت مسيرتكم علمية وقيادتكم الحكيمة على قيم الاعتدال والوسطية والمسؤولية الأخلاقية وأهمية مواكبة الدين للتحديات الملحة في عصرنا. وسؤالي: كيف يمكن للقيم القرآنية التي تؤكد مسؤولية الإنسان في إعمار الأرض وتحقيق التوازن في الكون أن توجهنا اليوم في مواجهة التحديات البيئية مثل تغير المناخ وتدهور البيئة وهدر الغذاء؟ وما الدور العملي الذي يمكن أن تطلع به المؤسسات الدينية والإفتائية في هذا المجال؟ تفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، وبعد، فسلام من الله عليكم ورحمته وبركاته، وأسعد الله أوقاتكم بالخير واليمن والبركات. واسمحوا لي بداية أن أرحب بحضراتكم جميعا المنصة الكريمة، الحضور الكريم كل باسمه ووصفه. ثم اسمحوا لي في هذه الدقائق المعدودات أن أتوقف أمام عدة أمور. الأمر الأول يتعلق بمفهوم الدين. الأمر الثاني ما يتعلق بالكتب التي تتعلق بهذا الدين الذي شرفنا الله تعالى بالانتساب إليه، والعلاقة بين هذا الكتاب وغيره من الكتب السابقة. أما عن الدين فهو في أبسط معانيه وأوضح معانيه هو أمر وضعه الله تعالى للناس على لسان الأنبياء والمرسلين ليحقق لهم الخير في الدنيا والفلاح في الآخرة. فهذا هو مفهوم الدين في أبسط معانيه، وهذا المفهوم يفيد في أمرين: أن الدين في حقيقته جاء لخير البشرية جمعاء. الأمر الثاني يتعلق بأتباع الدين وما يصدر عن بعض أتباع أي دين، وبالتالي ينبغي ألا يحكم على الدين من خلال سلوك بعض أتباعه، وإنما يحكم على الدين من خلال نصوصه وأوامره وتوجيهاته. الأمر الثاني أن الدين باعتبار هذا المفهوم خص الله تعالى الإسلام بكتاب يعرف بالقرآن الكريم. هذا الكتاب هو خاتم الكتب السماوية التي أنزلت على البشر من لدن أبينا آدم إلى سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وبالتالي عندما ننظر إلى هذا الكتاب سوف نجده يتفق تماما مع الكتب التي تقدمت عليه باعتبار أصلها لا باعتبار ما آلت إليه من قبل بعض أتباعها. يتفق في أصل العقيدة وفي أصل الشريعة وفي أصل الأخلاق والسلوك. ومعنى ذلك أن الرسالات السماوية وكذا الكتب السماوية اتفقت في حقيقة الاعتقاد وفي حقيقة العلاقة والتعامل بين الخالق والمخلوق، ثم القيم والسلوكيات. ولعل من أبرز القيم التي يتوقف عليها البنيان والعمران ما يتعلق بالجانب السلوكي والأخلاقي. هذا الجانب الذي اتفقت عليه الشرائع السماوية وتلاقت فيه مع الدعوات الإصلاحية والمذاهب البشرية والأديان الوضعية. وكأن هذا الاتفاق يشير إلى حقيقة واضحة أن الحق لا يتفاوت وإن تعددت مصادره. وإن كنا نتحدث عن تنمية مستدامة يلزم عنها البناء والتشييد والعمران، فإن ذلك لا يتحقق إلا بالمحافظة على نفس وعقل ونسل وعرض ومال، المقاصد الكلية التي اتفقت عليها الشرائع: الدين والنفس والنسل والعقل والمال. وأنت عندما تنظر إلى هذه الأمور تجد بأن التنمية الحقيقية لا تتحقق إلا باحترام النفس الإنسانية والوقوف على ما لها من احترام وتقديس وتوقير. الأمر ذاته ينطبق على العقل الإنساني، الأمر ذاته ينطبق على النسل وعلى العرض وعلى المال. وبالتالي عندما نتوقف أمام ما جاء في القرآن الكريم عن هذا الجانب سوف نجد أن القرآن قد أفاض وذكر حديثا واسعا فيما يتعلق بالتنمية المستدامة، ويكفي أن نتوقف عند قول الله تعالى: هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها. فالأمر بعمارة الأرض والنهي عن الإفساد فيها جزء من الرسالة الإلهية التي ابتعث الله بها الأنبياء من لدن أبينا آدم إلى نبينا محمد، وإلا فلماذا قال الله تبارك وتعالى لسيدنا صالح: فاذكروا آلاء الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين، وقال لسيدنا شعيب: ولا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين، وقال لسيدنا موسى: كلوا واشربوا من رزق الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين، بل قال لكل خلقه أجمعين: ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها. وبالتالي عندما نتوقف أمام هذه النصوص نجد أن القرآن الكريم قد أشار إلى نقطة مهمة تتعلق بالبنيان والعمران وما يضاد هذا العمران والبنيان، والمتمثل في الاعتداء على الأرض بشتى أنواعه، من اعتداء على أرض أو عرض أو نفس أو عقل أو مال، فكل ذلك يمثل لونا من ألوان الفساد. وتجنبا لذلك نجد أن الدين الإسلامي دعا الناس إلى التعايش وإلى التكامل وإلى التعاون وإلى التعاضد، فقال: يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. وتأكيدا على أن الإسلام دين يحث أتباعه على التنمية، فإن الحقيقة الكبرى التي لا نمل من إعلانها والتأكيد عليها في كل محفل علمي أننا ندرك أنه يناقش قضية التعايش والتبادل العلمي والتنوع الديني والثقافي بكثير من الشفافية والموضوعية التي يتأكد من خلالها زيف ما يوجه إليه من اتهامات أو انتقادات. وبالتالي في سبيل ذلك نجده ينظر إلى الإنسان على أنه خليفة أي مستخلف، ينظر للإنسان على أنه جزء من كل، ينظر للإنسان على أنه أمين ومسؤول، كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته، ينظر للإسلام على أنه ينبغي أن يلتزم بإنسانيته ويراعي الكرامة الإنسانية حتى مع أعدائه ومع خصومه. ويكفي هنا أن نذكر بهذه الوصايا الجليلة التي كانت توجه من قبل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم من قبل خلفائه من بعده لأصحابه ولأتباعه: لا تغلوا، لا تغدروا، لا تقطعوا شجرة، لا تقتلوا شيخا، لا تهدموا صومعة، إلى غير ذلك من وصايا. عندما نعقد مقارنة بينها وبين ما يحدث في بقاع شتى من العالم ندرك الفارق الجوهري بين الهدي السماوي وبين المقصد الرئيس من هذا الهدي، وبين ما تقوم به بعض الجماعات وبعض الكيانات من تطاول على النفس وإهدار للكرامة الإنسانية واعتداء على العرض وقتل ووأد وتهجير وإبادة. ولعل ما يحدث في فلسطين عامة وفي غزة خاصة لهو من أوضح الأدلة على أن الواقع يشهد براءة الدين الصحيح من كل ما يعوق ألوان التنمية، وأن ما يقوم به البعض بعيد عن الهدي السماوي، لأن الهدي السماوي أكد على اتفاق بين أصول ثلاثة من بينها القيم والأخلاق، والتي تلاقت مع الدعوات الإصلاحية والدعوات الخيرية، كما جاء في البوذية: لا تقتل، لا تسرق، لا تكذب، إلى غير ذلك من معاني عظيمة تتحقق بها التنمية المستدامة. الحضور الكريم، لا يمكن أن نتحدث عن تنمية مستدامة ونتغافل عما يجري في فلسطين وخاصة في غزة الجريحة، فما يحدث هناك ليس صراعا بل هو امتحان لصدق المواثيق الدولية والرغبة في التعمير أو التخريب، وكيف لزيف الشعارات عن العدالة وحقوق الإنسان. لقد رأينا أن من أبسط قواعد التنمية المستدامة الشفافية والموضوعية وعدم العنصرية والكيل بمكيالين. إن هذه الأمور تؤكد على أن الإنسانية قد تجاوزت خطاها وابتعدت عن مرادها وعما جاءت له، ومن ثم فإن الدور الذي ينبغي أن ينطلق من المؤسسات الدينية والإفتائية وعلماء الدين ورجالاته هو هذه الدعوات التي تحاول أن توقظ الفطر بخطورة الصراعات والحروب والأزمات، وأن هذه أدوات تعوق بين الحق والوصول إليه وتمنع من التنمية المستدامة التي يتحقق من ورائها البنيان والعمران والتحقيق للمبدأ الإلهي الذي خلق الإنسان من أجله: إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. إن قانونا يحكم هذا العالم يعرف بقانون التسخير، بمقتضاه سخر الأدنى للأعلى، فسخر الجماد للإنسان والحيوان والنبات، وسخر النبات للحيوان والإنسان، وسخر الحيوان للإنسان، فلم يبقى إلا أن يكون الإنسان مسخرا لله تعالى. لكن ما يحدث من أزمات وصراعات وحروب إبادة وتجويع وتشريد ما هي إلا أدوات تمنع من التنمية المستدامة وتعوق عن التقدم والعمران، وهو أمر يتنافى تماما مع ما جاء في الإسلام، بل مع ما جاء في صحيح الأديان كلها، باعتبار أن الدين في مقصده كما قلت في البداية وضع إلهي وضعه الله تعالى على لسان الأنبياء والمرسلين، يهدف إلى تحقيق الصلاح في الحال والفلاح في المآل. أشكر لكم حسن الاستماع وجميل الإنصات.
شكرا سماحة مفتي. بلا شك أن القيم الدينية والإسلامية الخالدة قادرة على توجيهنا في مواجهة تحديات العصر. هذه القيم القائمة على الرحمة والعدالة والمسؤولية تمنح بعدا أخلاقيا للتنمية المستدامة. ونحن في المنظمة الإسلامية لأمن الغذائي أيضا نرى أن أمن الغذائي ليس تحديا تقنيا فحسب، بل واجبا أخلاقيا يقوم على رعاية الخليقة وتجنب الهدر وضمان العدالة في الموارد. شكرا.
شكرا سماحة الشيخ. We will move to Dr. Ibrahim al-Nuaimi, Chairman of the Doha International Center for Interfaith Dialogue in Qatar. الكلمة لكم. تفضل دكتور.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أيها سعادة رئيس الجلسة، أختي الفاضلة، الأخوة والأخوات، الضيوف الكرام، أصحاب المعالي والفضيلة، الباحثون المختصون مثل الجمعيات والمنظمات المحلية والدولية، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كانت كلمتي مخصصة لبحث دور الأديان في تحقيق التنمية المستدامة من خلال التكامل بين القيم الروحية والممارسات الاجتماعية وحماية البيئة والتضامن الإنساني والصحة والتعليم. غير أن الهجوم الإسرائيلي الإرهابي الغاشم على بلدي قطر استدعى التوقف عنده، مع التأكيد أن الهدف الأساس يظل ترسيخ ثقافة السلام ومواجهة الإرهاب والتطرف وتحقيق تنمية تحفظ كرامة الإنسان وحقوقه. وبالتالي سوف أتحدث في البداية عن السلام والتنمية في ظل الهجوم الإرهابي واثنين بتكلم بعد ذلك عن سام الأديان، وبالذات مركز الدوحة الدولي لحوار الأديان في تحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة 2030. أولاً أن السلام خيار أخلاقي وعقلاني رغم التحديات، ويقول الله تعالى: وإذ يمكر بك الذين كفروا ليثبتوك أو يقتلوك أو يخرجوك ويمكرون ويمكر الله والله خير الماكرين. إذ تشير هذه الآية الكريمة إلى أن العدوان والظلم رافق مسيرة الإنسان منذ القدم، غير أن الحكمة الإلهية تبقى حافظة للبشر وهادية لهم إلى سواء السبيل، بما يتوافق مع الفطرة السليمة والعقل الرشيد الذي ينهض بنزوع الإنسان نحو السلام والرحمة والإنصاف. وفي هذا السياق يأتي كلام صاحب السمو الشيخ تميم بن حمد آل ثاني أمير دولة قطر في افتتاح أعمال القمة العربية الإسلامية الطارئة التي عقدت في 15 سبتمبر 2025 في الدوحة، حيث وصف هذا الهجوم الإرهابي العدواني الظالم والمتغطرس قائلاً: تفاجأ مواطنو هذا البلد الآمن ومقيموه وصدم معهم العالم كله، ليس لأن هذا العدوان انتهاك سافر وخطير لسيادة الدولة ودوس على المواثيق والأعراف الدولية فحسب، بل أيضاً بسبب الظروف الخاصة المحيطة بهذا العمل الإرهابي الجبان. وكوت. وهكذا تتلاقى الحكمة الإلهية مع الواقع المعاصر في الإشارة إلى أن العدوان قد يحصل، ولكن خيار السلام والأخلاق والعقلانية يظل دائماً السبيل الأمثل لمواجهة التحديات وحماية الإنسانية. وفي مقابلة أجراها مؤخراً مع قناة CNN الأمريكية، أكد رئيس مجلس الوزراء وزير الخارجية الشيخ سعادة الشيخ محمد بن عبد الرحمن آل ثاني أن الدبلوماسية القطرية تنطلق من مبدأ ترسيخ الاستقرار الإقليمي، وأن هذا الاستقرار لا يتحقق إلا عبر الحلول الدبلوماسية والوساطة، مشدداً على أن قطر ماضية في أداء هذا الدور في مختلف القضايا الإقليمية دون أن يثنيها عن ذلك شيء. ثانياً، أن الأديان تمثل ركيزة أساسية لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة عند مواجهة التحديات. إن الهجوم الإرهابي الأخير يعيد التأكيد على أن الدور المحوري التي تطلع به الأديان والمؤسسات الدينية في مواجهة العنف والإرهاب والتطرف من خلال تحويل القيم الروحية إلى ممارسات اجتماعية حية تسهم في ترسيخ التعليم والتوعية بقيم التسامح والتعايش والتحقيق العدالة الاجتماعية وصون حقوق الإنسان وتعزيز الاستجابة الإنسانية للأزمات. وكانت هذه الغايات الدينية والإنسانية النبيلة التي تحقق التنمية المستدامة من أهم دوافع دولة قطر في تبني ملف الوساطة والحوار والتفاوض، ويظهر ذلك جليا في كلمة سمو الأمير حيث قال: فقطر التي تبعد آلاف الأميال عن المكان الذي انطلقت منه الطائرات المعتدية هي دولة وساطة. نحن دولة وساطة، دولة سلام تبذل منذ عامين جهودا مضنية من أجل التوصل إلى تسوية توقف الحرب القاتلة المدمرة التي تشن على الشعب الفلسطيني في قطاع غزة. وأكد سمو الشيخ تميم دوافع الحوار والوساطة بقوله: وصلنا الوساطة على أمل التوصل إلى وقف دائم لإطلاق النار وإطلاق سراح جميع الرهائن وانسحاب إسرائيل من القطاع ودخول المساعدات الإنسانية وتحرير أسرى فلسطينيين. هل بعد هذه الأهداف من تنمية مستدامة تذكر؟ إن مؤتمرنا هذا يمثل نموذجا لشراكات بين المؤسسات الدينية والمدنية والحكومية بشرط المصداقية. إن الحوار بين الأديان والثقافات لا يقتصر على تبادل الأفكار، ولا ينبغي أن يكون مجرد لقاءات، بل لابد أن يتم ترجمته إلى استراتيجيات عملية لتحقيق السلام والتنمية. ولا بد أن نستحضر شرطين أساسيين ونحن نخوض مؤتمرات الحوار ونكرر الحديث عن السلام. الشرط الأول الاتفاق على أساسيات الحوار وبناء السلام، واستصحاب ذلك أثناء خوض الحوار والوساطة. وقد لفت سمو الأمير الانتباه إلى بعض أبجديات الحوار التي تكمن في المبادئ الأساسية والأولية والتي يفترض أنها بديهية في التعامل بين البشر، حيث عبر سموه عن قوله بذلك: فثمة مبادئ أولية بسيطة في التعامل بين البشر يعجز حتى من توفرت لديه الحكمة والشجاعة اللازمين للخوض فيما نخوض فيه أن توقع أن هناك من لا يعيرها أي اهتمام ولا تعني له شيئا، وهو توصيف صادق لغياب الحد الأدنى من الاعتبارات الإنسانية في دائرة الحروب والصراعات. الشرط الثاني هي أن نكون صادقين مع أنفسنا ومع الآخر في مساعينا نحو الحوار والوساطة وبناء السلام وإنهاء الصراعات. الآن سأنتقل إلى الشرط الثاني من مداخلتي، حيث نجد أن موضوع الأديان والتنمية المستدامة يعد من أبرز مسارات البحث العلمي والحوار الدولي لارتباطه بالبيئة والعدالة الاجتماعية والاقتصاد وبناء السلم الأهلي. وتشير الدراسات إلى أن الدين ليس مجرد منظومة عقدية أو طقسية، بل هو قوة ثقافية واجتماعية وروحية تؤثر في السلوك الفردي والجماعي وتعزز المسؤولية الأخلاقية تجاه الإنسان والبيئة. وبالتالي أن ارتباط الأديان بالتنمية المستدامة يجب أن يتجلى في عدة جوانب، ومن أبرزها أولا البعد البيئي، وهذا محور نقاشنا اليوم إن شاء الله. معظم الأديان تعتبر أن الأرض أمانة، وما يعزز أخلاقيات الرعاية البيئية، وتساهم المبادرات الدينية في التوعية بمخاطر التغير المناخي. ثانيا البعد الاجتماعي، المؤسسات الدينية هي أكبر مزودي الخدمات التعليمية والصحية والإغاثية، مما يجعلها شريكا أساسيا لتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة، ولسنا شركاء جانبيين أو على الهامش. نحن يجب أن نكون شركاء رئيسيين، لأن الدعم والمساعدة والأعمال الخيرية تنبثق ومصدرها الرئيسي هي المؤسسات الدينية. ثالثا البعد الاقتصادي، القيم الدينية في التكافل والعدالة تساعد على صياغة نماذج اقتصادية مستدامة، مثل التمويل الإسلامي الأخلاقي والاقتصاد التضامني. وأخيرا البعد القيمي والسياسي، فإن الدين يوفر إطارا لتعزيز السلم الأهلي والحد من النزاعات ويعزز الحوار. وتهدف، وكما نعلم الجميع أن جهود التنمية المستدامة هو الهدف الأساسي منها هو القضاء على الفقر وحماية الكوكب وضمان السلام والرفاه. وتبرز دور المؤسسات الدينية في تعزيز الاستهلاك والإنتاج المستدام ونشر قيم العدالة والمساواة وبناء اقتصاد تعاوني وتوفير وسائل سلمية لحل النزاعات، كما أكده بان كيمون سابقا. وأكد مؤتمر قادة الأديان نور سلطان في عام 2022 في هذا المؤتمر على مواجهة التغير المناخي والفقر والجريمة والتعاون بين القادة الروحيين والسياسيين وموازنة التقدم العلمي مع القيم الإنسانية. ثالثا أعطيكم فكرة بسيطة عن تجربة مركز الدوحة الدولي في هذا المجال. رسالة المركز هي تفعيل القيم الدينية لمواجهة التحديات الإنسانية، وقد أسهمنا بعدة مشاريع من ضمنها المؤتمرات. فقد تناول مؤتمر الدوحة لحوار الأديان خلال 15 مؤتمر خلال 20 سنة الماضية قضايا البيئة وحقوق الإنسان والمرأة والأسرة والعمل والهجرة، إسهاما في نشر الوعي وتعزيز التنمية المستدامة. وكذلك مجلة أديان ريليجيز المحكمة فقد خصص أعداد كثيرة لحقوق الإنسان والعمل والأسرة والهجرة، يمكنكم الرجوع لها في موقع المركز www.dicid.org. وهناك المجالات التعاون والشراكات الدولية، من ضمنها التعاون مع مركز International Center for Interfaith and Inter-Religious Dialogue هي في نور سلطان. عملنا مع بعض في عمل علمي حول دور القيادة الدينية في تحقيق التنمية المستدامة ضمن منصة بيس توكس، وأكدنا على دور الدين في معالجة هذه القضايا البيئية والاجتماعية والتعاون الحضاري. لا أريد أن أخذ وقت الحضور والأخ زملائي، لكن ضرورة أن نحن من خلال هذا المؤتمر تركيز على بناء الضمير الأخلاقي وربط الأهداف المادية بالقيم الروحية وتعزيز ثقافة العمل والمسؤولية المشتركة. ولا يمكن قبل الختام إغفال كما ذكر أخي فضيلة الشيخ بأسة إخواننا في فلسطين وخصوصا غزة، حيث أطلق المركز الدوحة الدولي لحوار الأديان حملة توعية حول الانتهاكات الإنسانية هناك، مؤكدا على الأمل في استمرار الدعوة لحلول عادلة ولسلام دائم عبر الثقافات والأديان. وأخيرا أن الأديان ليست منظومات مغلقة، بل رسائل إنسانية تحمل طاقة هائلة تدفع نحو عالم أكثر عدلا وسلاما. وأن رسالتنا اليوم واضحة، أن الأديان أداة قوية للتغيير الإيجابي والسلام والعدالة أساس التنمية الاستدامة وتحقيق أهداف 2030. فلنعمل جميعا على ترجمة القيم الروحية لممارسات عملية لحماية الإنسان وبناء المجتمعات وتعزيز التعايش والتسامح. وأشكركم الشكر الجزيل والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور إبراهيم. أحد أهم الأسس للحوار كما ذكر الدكتور إبراهيم والوصول إلى السلم وبناء ثقافة السلم هي التساوي وليس التعالي. فإذا كنا نبني كل هذا العمل معا ولا نستطيع أن نحاسب أي دولة للاعتداء على أي دولة أو الاعتداء على كرامة الإنسان بدون أي مسؤولية، نحن أمام مأزق كبير. وأعتقد أن العام المنصرم ولا زلنا نعاني من الوضع في فلسطين، في غزة، في لبنان، في اعتداء سافر ومتواصل للأسف مع صمت عن كل هذا الإجحاف بحق البشرية والإنسانية وامتهان كرامة الإنسان. أما بالنسبة للبعد الديني والبيئي للتنمية، أريد هنا أن أنوه لوثيقتين مهمتين: لوداتو سي، كن مسبحا، التي أطلقها قداسة البابا فرانسيس، ونذكر اليوم بالخير بعد أن كان معنا في المؤتمر الماضي هنا في كازاخستان. والوثيقة الثانية التي عالجت موضوع البيئة أيضا من وجهة نظر إسلامية، وهي الميزان Covenant of the Earth، والتي أطلقت مع اليونيب، مع برنامج الأمم المتحدة للبيئة. شكرا جزيلا دكتور.
Thank you. So I'd like to address next question to Ms. Zulfiya Suleymanova, advisor of the President of Kazakhstan. Ms. Suleymanova, Kazakhstan has placed sustainability and environmental diplomacy at the heart of its international agenda. As special representative of the President, you are leading member of Kazakhstan's delegations to COP28 and 29 and outlined an ambitious pathway toward carbon neutrality by 2060, while emphasizing that climate action must be a just transition that leaves no one behind. From your perspective, how can governments and religious communities work together to ensure that global climate policies not only advance decarbonization targets, but also safeguard livelihood and inspire communities to embrace this transformation as their own? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear Your Excellencies, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to be part of today's discussion. And it is very inspiring to see the leadership of many religious leaders in this very important agenda. Before starting, I actually really wanted to stop on the notion of what is sustainable development, where it comes from. The sustainable development is basically looks into how we are into the indivisibility and interlinkedness, interlinkage between the three dimensions, that is economic, environmental, and social. It is really about thinking how we can be living today without really compromising our needs, but at the same time making sure that the future generations can meet their needs in as sustainable manner as we are doing it today. Unfortunately, the world is at the moment not on a very sustainable pathway. Having said that, we have to know that on 24th of July of this year, we have marked the Earth Overshoot Day. What is Earth Overshoot Day? It's basically the day when we have consumed all the ecological services and the resources that the Earth can regenerate in 1 year. In other words, what we are doing right now is we are borrowing the resources from our children and from our future generations, which is not very sustainable. So when we are speaking about the sustainable development, I think there are many debates about what does sustainable means. Sometimes some people say that sustainable is, well, when we are seeing the economic growth, the dynamics should be sustainably upward. At the same time, some other people say that sustainable is more about making sure that we are considering what is environmentally possible, what can be regenerated by the earth. And I lean towards the second idea, because we actually see that the exponential economic growth cannot really be substantiated and sustained by the resources, be it human resources or be it environmental resources. And the history demonstrates that unsustainable economic growth patterns, unsustainable and exploitative use of natural resources don't really lead to anything good. For example, back in 1952, there was a Great London Smoke. So basically, what was happening, the smoke covered the London area, leading to 12,000 people dying. 1960s, Rachel Carson published her book Silent Spring. It was about using the DDT and chemicals in agriculture and how the use of these chemicals was impacting both environment and human health. So when we are coming back to the notion and to the concept of sustainable development, it is really about making sure that when we are growing economically, we are making sure that environmental sustainability is taken care of, but at the same time, the social justice is also provided. Because when we are growing too fast, first we are exploiting natural resources. Second, we are seeing that unfortunately the gap between rich and poor is increasing. So sustainable development is making sure that we are not really creating these gaps, that we are making sure that the natural resources are well taken care of and so on. So from there, for Kazakhstan, it is extremely important to make sure that sustainable development agenda is followed. And when we are speaking about that, I want to really emphasize that environmental aspects are very important part of President Tokayev's political agenda. Why is it so important? It's not only about the fact that environmental issues are important and that they are trendy, and they are trendy to a certain extent, but because it is very strategic thinking about where do we want to find ourselves as a country in 20, 30 or 50-year timeline, whether we want to be in the situation of absolutely exploited and exhausted natural resources which cannot support the economic growth and cannot really result in social well-being, or whether we want to find ourselves in the situation where we are able to sustain our economic growth, where we can really provide for the needs of our population, of our people, but also of the world population. And here the climate change issue raises as a very peculiar factor, because climate change is not only environmental problem. Climate change is actually a threat multiplier in terms of the security, in terms of sustainability, in terms of social cohesion and social well-being. To give you an example, since we have Ambassador Berekarin who is working on food security, I really want to specifically stop on the food security. Kazakhstan nowadays is one of the leading producers of wheat. So in other words, Kazakhstan is one of the very important contributors to the food security globally. However, according to our projections, the most aggressive climate change scenarios will result in the reduction of yields by 49% by 2040 of the spring wheat. And the spring wheat is the major type of wheat that Kazakhstan produces. So in other words, we will have less food available both in Kazakhstan and globally. That will, of course, create certain chain of reactions in terms of the food prices, in terms of the food availability, especially of the most vulnerable regions. So in that sense, the climate change is a threat multiplier. And the fact that the President Tokayev continuously raises these issues, both nationally and globally, is extremely important in terms of making sure, in terms of ensuring the strategic security of of Kazakhstan of the world. And from here, I want to really go back to the question of what is the role of religious leaders and of religions in ensuring and in promoting this important agenda. We have to understand that world is a system, is a complex system with many interacting elements and components. And when we want to address the sustainable development, we really have to make so in systemic manner, because the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development says that the 3 pillars of sustainable development are indivisible. We can't say, okay, I'm going to be addressing the social issues and I don't want to deal with economic or environmental aspects. It's impossible because they are so much interconnected that we really have to make sure that we deal with them systemically. So here comes the question, how can we deal with complex systems? And this is not my theory, this is not my idea. I borrowed that from a from renowned economist, Donella Meadows, who said that there are leverage points in the systems, the points in the system where we can make the biggest impacts. She identified 12 leverage points, and I don't want to stop on all of these leverage points, but I want to stop on 2 leverage points, which in her opinion make the biggest impact. The first one being the mindset and the paradigms. So basically the values and the paradigms in which the societies are live. And another one which has the biggest impact so far, that is our ability to transcend the paradigms. And I think, and this is where the religious leaders and where religions actually work and interact. It is really about creating the values, the set of values in the people. It is really about nurturing certain ideas and certain paradigms. And here we really have to be really searching for the opportunities on how the government, the society, and the religions can work together in promoting certain values among the population, because without societal and attitudinal changes, it is impossible to see any changes in the systems at all. At the end of the day, the government deals with infrastructures, with physical systems. We do deal with the ideology and the ideas, but I think the outreach of the religious leaders and of religions is much deeper and is much far-reaching. So I think, answering your question, I think this might be the very important areas where we can work together and really search for the right recipes and right approaches on how the religious leaders can promote the certain values and can help people to transcend the paradigms in which we live in. Not the paradigm where I want to only consume, but the paradigm where I'm ready to give to the society, to the environment, to care about how I'm consuming, how I'm living, to think about what would be the future of the world, how my children are going to live in the future, whether our planet is able to provide for all the needs that our children are going to have. So I think this would be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your thoughtful perspectives. Yeah, it's how we consume natural resources really alarming. And as you also mentioned it, climate change, negative impact on agriculture productivity, water scarcity, and of course it's negatively impact on our livelihood. And as you noted, climate action cannot succeed through governments alone. It must be also grounded in the values and daily practice of communities. Here, religious leaders, by inspiring trust and guiding choices, can translate global sustainability agenda into local action, especially when aligned with national and international policies, creating strong advocacy and deeper resilience. Thank you. Thank you.
We now move to Mr. Osvaldo Conde. Please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished dignitaries of our delegations and religious leaders, it's an extreme honor to be at this meeting of global importance. I am the author of the book Ahmed Yassawi, The Journey of Sufism. The topic I will address is Sacred Scriptures, a current view on aspects of sustainable development and ecological responsibility. In the Quran, the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Ars, verse of the Waish, in its second and third lines states, the man is in perdition, except those who believes unto good, and who conserve on another in truth, and recommended one another to perseverance. For Islam, everything is Muslim, meaning it was created and sustained by God. Therefore, practicing good is an ordinance that transcends Ummah, the Islamic community. If everything was created by God, committing acts of violence and vilifying his creatures, regardless of their religious belief, is un-Islamic. This idea is confirmed and attested to be great historical figures such as Khalifa Omar, Emir Abdel Qadir al-Jaziri, hero and spiritual master, and renowned Kazakh Sufi Hoja Ahmed Yassawi, the Sufi poet Yunus Emre, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, the servant of God, among others. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu holy book, there is a passage in which a warrior is urged to draw his sword and fight, but draw the sword of wisdom to fight ignorance. In Confucianism, the so-called Golden Rule is invoked stating, do not to do others what you would not want done to yourself. Faced with such humanitarian expression, which are also found in all traditional religions, a question arises. What are you doing to the planet created by God? There is a history attributed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ about an occasion when an acquaintance of the Prophet was resting near until and was stung by one. In retaliation, he set fire to the antelope. The Prophet ﷺ warned him of his aggressive act and that he would inevitably be held accountable for all his actions, even if it was toward a single ant. Everything has ethical and moral consequences, as well as physical ones, especially in nature, which is interconnected. Remember, we are one planet. We are here a moment on fraternity and in a vital attempt to build bridge of understanding and alliance of civilizations, as Minister Luis Zapatero would say. But our responsibility is immense, especially that of the religious leaders present. They will carry a call for ecological sustainability to every nation's point on the planet from which they came, with spirituality and personal example. Christians speak of not signing in words, thought, and actions. No thinking about sustainability is signing intellectually and scientifically. No speaking about sustainability is signing be not transmitting a truth. No action is a failure to act toward humanity. In churches, mosques, and madrasas, in Hindu or Sikh temples, in yeshivas, in our religion school, we teach sustainability. We need to speak and teach the ecological unity of the earth. We must transform words into action. May each religion teach its perspective of compassion for the planet. May each religious school commit to discussing sustainability now, so that we have a future. Currently, not speak about cheating and practicing environmental preservation, combating the different forms of pollution, is to forget the beauty of human life and life as a whole. Will we remain silent and apathetic watching the world literally burn? We need to counsel one another in the truth of the unity and interdependence of life in the planet Earth. And we recommend one another to persevere in caring for it. It is more than clear. With the whole life on the planet, there will be no religion at all. Religion gives meaning to existence, but without a planet, there is no existence. Defending sustainability is defending humanity. It is defending life from ants to humans, humanity. Also call for help from our religious leaders, help for all your followers of your faith and another beliefs. Defending sustainability is ultimately defending your religion, whatever it may be. With the whole planet, of course, there will be no religion. Chanti, shalom, peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Obrigada. Thank you so much for
you.
the reiterating that spiritual values in all religions all concentrate on our shared responsibility to cherish and preserve the earth as a human and universal value, compassion for the planet, as Mr. Osvaldo has put it very nicely, and to protect human life. Thank you.
So, I'd like to address next question to Mr. VIII Cusack, founder and CEO of Love Your Neighborhood Community. Mr. Cusack, your organization, Love Your Neighbor Community, emphasizes practical cooperation at the grassroots levels. Could you share examples of how interfaith collaboration has helped communities respond to crisis and build resilience?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Excellencies, dear guests, friends, colleagues. This is very important and a timely discussion we're having today. Religions as a factor in sustainable world development. And we heard a lot today and yesterday about how religions can be united to address certain global issues, because there is none of those issues can be addressed by one country or one religion or one organization. We are talking about unity to addressing global threats. But there is supposed to be a certain way how to create such cooperation between religions to address these issues. It is very naive to believe that if today some religions and organizations do not cooperate, and we call them cooperate, tomorrow they will cooperate. There is supposed to be a certain instrument, certain way how to do it. And I would like to discuss a couple of ideas related to such an opportunity on how to unite people of different faith who disagree theologically around common global and social issues. And I would like to think about the word tolerance. So we heard a lot about tolerance and how good is it and how it needs to be advanced and promoted, which I agree with. But often tolerance stops at the standard for living together. Tolerance is important. It helps to avoid conflicts and allows different groups to coexist. But tolerance is not enough. The tolerance often means I will let you live here as long as you stay at your place, and it doesn't ask me to know you, to respect you, or to work with you. In today's fragile and interconnected world, and it's a paradox, the world is more fragile than it was 10 or 20 years ago, but interconnection in this world on a much higher level. So it is fragile and interconnected at the same time. Tolerance in today's world, it's not enough. We need something stronger, something that in Love Your Neighbor community we call covenantal pluralism. Covenantal pluralism goes beyond than tolerance. It is about taking responsibility for other. It calls us to respect the dignity of others, to listen, to learn, and to work together for the common good, even when we disagree. It's about engagement, not coexistence. And it's not the theory that I am trying to discuss that. In Kazakhstan, in this country, Uzbekistan, Georgia, and many other countries where we operate, we have seen how covenantal pluralism builds social trust. Through our cross-cultural religious literacy program, we bring clergies, educators, and government leaders together. They sit side by side, learning to understand themselves, understand the others, and discover what they can do together. So the cross-cultural religious literacy is a tool how to unite religions and the government and a social, civil society and academia together to address the common threats, common issues. So cross-cultural religious literacy teaches each person to deeper and better understand one's own religion and what this religion is teaching about how to engage other on a practical way. Cross-cultural religious literacy teaching about others from others. This is very important. How we obtain information about others, about other religions, other social groups. Usually, what's the usual source for information to know about others? Social media, right? Media, maybe books if someone is researching a certain religion or phenomena. But cross-cultural religious literacy offers to learn about other from other. Personally, it's a personal interaction. And when we learn about other, not from social media, not from other sources, not from books, but all of those probably may play a good role, but from others, this change situation dramatically. So cross-cultural religious literacy is one of the ideas on how we can get united. The cross-cultural religious literacy breaks down stereotypes, build trust, and help community prevent extremism and foster peace. President Tokayev in yesterday's speech said that religious values inspire compassion and service, and that faith communities play a real role in achieving the sustainable development goals. This is what covenantal pluralism unlocks. Religious leaders and communities not only coexisting, but actively working together to advance education, health, justice, climate, and social cohesion. The future of our societies will not be secured by technology or economics alone. It depends on the trust we build between people, on religion acting as a bridge, not a barrier. Cross-cultural religious literacy helps to understand religion as a part of the solution, not part of the problem. in many countries, in many societies, religion sees as a problem. Even some government agencies sometimes called agency to research religious problems, right? So, and many societies sees religions as a problem, and they think, oh, if there would be no religion, there would be no problem, which is not true. The Soviet Union is a great example where the Bolsheviks, the Soviet government, was trying to eradicate all religions for the common good, and we all know what happened. Just yesterday, we went to the place called Algiers, which is a part of Gulag, the system where a Soviet government exaggerated intelligentsia, religious leaders, and many others. So eradication of religion does not lead to the solution. Religion is a part of the solution if religious leaders work together, understand each other, and promote human dignity and cooperation. So tolerance may keep the peace for the short time, but covenantal pluralism builds peace for generations. Let us commit not only to coexistence, but to covenant, to work together, protect each other, and use the power of our faith tradition for more trust, unity, and sustainable world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kusak. Yeah, unity is crucial to address common challenges, and in Kazakhstan there is a slogan, our unity in our diversity. It means our strength in diversity. So yeah, to reach this unity, we should enhance knowledge of each other. Thank you. Thank you.
So now we give the floor to Mr. Tigwan Tagai Tadele, please.
Thank you for giving this chance, Excellency, and also moderator, distinguished religious leaders, and estimated participant of this conference, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of members of the Interreligious Council of Ethiopia, I present your greeting for peace and blessing as we gather for the Congress of Leaders of the World and Traditional Religious. I pray for peace, compassion, mutual respect, human dignity, healing and solidarity, unity and diversity, and harmony to prevail throughout the world. At the outset, I want to thank the organizer of this important congress. Religious has historically shaped the values, ethics, and behavior of society. Religious has the capacity to influence large population. Religious and traditionalist leaders have significant influence over their followers, often serving and moral and spiritual guides. This influence can be utilized to promote peace, development, harmony, human dignity, and prevention of environment. More than ever, our world needs the healing touch the religious and spiritual traditions can bring. It needs the message of promoting inner space, human dignity, compassion, social justice, healing, providing ethical compass, and reinforcing global sustainability and the prevention of environment. In today's world, which is marked by inequality, disunity, ecological strain, amongst other difficulties, religious preservation, perspective of offer an essential compass. They provide a moral compass that affirms our shared humanity and inspire communities to place the needs of the whole above narrow personal gain. Religious and spiritual communities are essentially to the fighting against climate change and to achieving the sustainable development goals. Faith-based organizations also play a significant role at local, regional, and global levels in engaging and impacting communities, and they can significantly address climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, desertification, and unsustainable land and water use. By the fostering a fundamental change in the attitude of the majority of people, they can do so through their own institutes and communities, and through cooperation within other cultures, benefits, and value system. Therefore, more than ever, religious leaders, faith-based and interfaith organizations need to work in close partnership to create a peaceful and better world for this generation and generation yet to come. Respected participants in this Congress, in this interconnected world, our well-being increasing depends on how well we interact, respect each other, uphold the dignity of other, and living together with other in harmony based on the teaching of the Golden Rule, which says, treat others the way you want to be treated. The Golden Rule is affirmed by different religions. The Golden Rule is a fundamental human value needed today as the basis of peaceful coexistence, mutual respect, justice, and human dignity. If we truly want to open a new chapter in human history and see a better world based on a culture of peace, human dignity, and social justice, I believe we must promote the teaching of the Golden Rule. We need to acknowledge that peace is only possible in the world when each and every one of us start to make peace within ourselves, seamless and in our respective communities. Each of us need to commit ourselves as best if we can to make personal pledge to peace, non-violence, and live according to the teaching of the Golden Rule. Let us be an instrument of peace and non-violence. Let us work the talk by taking particular action. And let us be the positive change we want to see in the world. May the Almighty God grant us light, guidance, visions, and direct our hearts and mind to the paths that lead us to peace, harmony, coexistence, and respect for each other, and to be stewardship of the environment and defenders of human dignity. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you.
Indeed, without inner peace, we cannot reflect outer peace, and we cannot call for the culture of peace that we need in today's world. And without social justice, we see today the problems we have in the world. When people don't feel equal
Yeah.
They cannot treat others with non-violence. Violence starts because of inequalities. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Most venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist philosophy teaches us to live in balance with nature and to avoid excess that causes harm to ourselves and the world around us. In the face of climate change and environmental degradation, how can Buddhist values of moderation, mindfulness, and interdependence inspire both communities and governments to adapt more sustainable ways of living and policy making?
Thank you, His Excellency Arin, distinguished delegates and participants of Congress. Today I speak to you on behalf of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha with the aspiration to seek solutions from religions in addressing humanity challenges for the better world. I could like to share some points. First, humanity is living in the third decade of the 21st century amidst many upheavals across the globe. While peace, friendship, cooperation, and development remain the prevailing trend, new challenges are amazing. We have been experiencing many political and security upheavals which involve in a complicated and unpredictable manner. Drastic non-traditional security risks, conflicts, wars, terrorism, and ethnic and religious conflict continue in many places. The crisis of ecological environment, climate change, inequality, poverty, and pandemic has been changing all aspects of our life and traditions. This context requires us to engage in dialogue, synergy, and cooperation at multiple levels between nations, regions, institutions, religion, and cultures. This is high time for us to work together to promote the core values of all civilization and religion, such as tolerance, compassion, generosity, harmony, and peace as pathway to addressing global challenges. Therefore, I welcome the initiative of this Congress with the support of His Excellency President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev and the government of Kazakhstan in convening the Congress under the theme Interfaith Dialogue, Synergy for the Future, reaffirming our determination and joint action to promote dialogue, cooperation, and the sharing of civilizational and cultural values for the common future of humankind. Second, throughout human history, religion has always played an important role in forming moral foundations, nurturing humanistic spirit, building trust, sincerity, tolerance, social responsibility, and service to the community. They are the essential elements that provide solutions to today's global problems. Now more than ever, all of us, religious leaders, political leaders, governments, and scholars must strengthen dialogue, share ideas, and join efforts to solve conflicts, ensure social justice, promote environmental sustainability, and enhance international cooperation in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for a better world. Third, what we must do to build a peaceful and sustainable world. The root cause of today's global challenges lies in the absence of solidarity and tolerance for human dignity, the absence of sincerity and mutual trust, and the absence of shared responsibility for progress and peace worldwide. Therefore, at this Congress, we call for strengthen cultural and interfaith dialogue as a means to bridge differences, foster solidarity and tolerance for human dignity, build trust, and enhance the role of religions in international diplomacy to resolve conflicts and promote sustainable global harmony. Religions must work together to further elevate the philosophies of love, compassion, charity, and tolerance. The core values build harmonious society, reduce conflicts, and promote cooperation. In the context of globalization, the values are especially important to help humanity overcome differences of culture, ethnicity, and nation, and together move towards the common goods of peace and sustainable development. The religion and the environment. Many religious teachings affirm the close relationship between humanity and nature. Buddhism emphasizes on the theory of dependent origination and interbeing. As Ms. Doctor said, we have to use the resources, how to further develop the economy of the country. And the Christianity affirms responsibility for preserving God's creation. Islam encourages modernization and balance. If applied, the values can become powerful spiritual motivation in combating climate change and protecting the environment, are vital pillars of sustainable development. Religion as a bridge for peace and dialogue. History has witnessed conflicts within the name of religion, but religion itself can also be a force for peace. Interfaith dialogue, mutual respect, and tolerance provide the basic for building trust, overcoming divisions, and consolidating sustainable peace for humanity. A sustainable world cannot rely solely on economics or technology, but must first be grounded in peace and solidarity. Religion and lifestyle. Consumerism and unchecked ambition are leading to many consequences for both society and environment. Religions consistently encourage people to live simply, moderately, and in balance between material and spiritual life. Such a lifestyle not only have reduced crisis, but also direct humanity towards true happiness, with sustainable, people-centered development. From Vietnam experience, I could like to propose several initiatives. First, government and regions should expand mechanism of cooperation, dialogue, information sharing to develop greater mutual understanding, build trust and respect, and jointly seek peaceful solutions to conflict as well as urgent global challenges. Second, uphold the principle of unity in diversity and strengthen interfaith and intercultural dialogue to promote peace and greater mutual understanding through dialogue, cooperation, and religious action. Advance self-civilizational values, cultural pluralism, and peace through interfaith and inter-ethnic dialogue, as well as through the relevant document of this Congress and the United Nations. Third, religion should join hands to convey values of compassion, kindness, and social responsibility to younger generations. They should cooperate in charity, support the poor, victims of war, natural disaster, and pandemics, and strengthen dialogue and synergy among religions to help prevent extremism and terrorism in the name of reason. Fourth, the government should implement models of green economy, digital economy, curricular economy, and sustainable development based on religious ecological ethics, ensuring that regenerative economic policies are always consistent with ecological balance, intergenerational justice, and long-term social stability. In conclusion, once again, I would like to express my respect and appreciation to the government of Kazakhstan and the Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions for their sponsorship and contributions in promoting and strengthening interfaith and intercultural dialogue. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Most Venerable, for underlining these shared values. Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, and all great faiths uphold compassion, tolerance, and harmony, principles that unite civilizations and form the moral foundation for addressing global challenges. Thank you. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, now we have to conclude, I think, our session. One more, yeah, please.
Last
Yeah,
but not least, I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Saradar Muhammad Yusuf, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, moderators. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished delegates, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a great honor to me to address the distinguished gathering on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, a nation whose very foundation was rooted in the principles of religious freedom, equality, and peaceful coexistence. Ladies and gentlemen, Islam is a faith of peace, justice, and mercy. It is a complete code of life. It offers a comprehensive ethical framework that upholds human life. It offers a comprehensive ethical framework, human dignity, social justice, environmental stewardship, and harmony among communities. The message of peace in Islam is both clear and universal. Allah Almighty declares in the Holy Quran, in Surah Baqarah, La ikra fi din qad tabayyana rushd min al-ghayy. It means there is no compulsion in religion. Truth stands clear from falsehood. Islam emphasizes on peaceful coexistence with other nations and communities. The Quran describes diversity of peoples and cultures as a divine design so that humanity may know one another and cooperate for mutual benefit. The life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam demonstrates this principle in practice, where treaties and covenants establish relation of trust and harmony even with those of different faiths. And Allah describes the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And we have not sent you, O Muhammad, except as a mercy to all the worlds. One of the earliest examples of this mercy is practice was the Charter of Medina, which established a pluralistic society where Muslims, Jews, and others lived together as equal citizens under a shared constitution. In today's interconnected world, sustainable development cannot be achieved in isolation. It requires respect, dialogue, and collaboration among nations. Islam's vision of coexistence promotes dialogue over discord, cooperation over conflict, and shared progress over narrow interest values that resonate deeply with the global pursuit of peace and sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, as earlier said, Islam is a complete code of life. Islam provides a holistic economic model that seeks to balance material progress with moral responsibility. The Quranic injunction on justice, fair trade, and prohibition of exploitation establish a framework where prosperity is not confined to a few, but shared equitably across society. Instruments such as zakat and sadaqah institutionalize compassion and social security, while the prohibition of interest, what is riba, promotes fairness in economic transactions. The model not only nurtures sustainable growth but also ensures that wealth becomes a means of collective well-being rather than a source of disparity. In the contemporary discourse on sustainable development, the Islamic economic system thus offers principles of ethical finance, equitable distribution, and social solidarity that are vital for addressing global challenges of poverty and inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, Islam addresses environmental challenges through principles of stewardship, balance, and accountability. I want to highlight some of them very briefly as under. Islam tells us about stewardship, khilafah. Humans are regarded as steward, khalifa of the earth. Must be resources responsibility and protect the environment for future generations. Islam speaks of balance and moderation, mizan. The Quranic ayah speaks of a natural balance created by Allah, which should not be disrupted. Overuse, wastage, or exploitation of nature is discouraged. Islam also teaches us prohibition of waste. Quran instructs not to waste resources. Indeed, it does not like the wasteful. Sustainable consumption and recycling are aligned with the Islamic teachings. Similarly, Islam strongly emphasized on rights of all creatures. Animals, plants, and natural resources are seen as communities with rights. Cruelty to animals and destruction of habitats are prohibited. Islam teaches us accountability. Humans will be held accountable on the day of judgment for how they treated the earth. Environmental negligence is considered a moral and spiritual failure. Last but not the least, Islam gives us practical environmental guidelines such as planting trees is a charitable act. There is this: if a Muslim plants a tree or sows seeds, and then a bird or a person or an animal eats from it, it is regarded as a charitable gift. Preservation of water, prevention of pollution, and sustainable agriculture are emphasized. Ladies and gentlemen, Islamic principles are highly aligned with achieving the sustainable development goals. Few examples are as under: zakat and sadaqah and waqf are instrumental in poverty alleviation and social protection.
Sir Sardar, may I please ask you to be more brief? Thank you. Please.
May I finish it?
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to make it short, please. The second, health and well-being is ensured by cleanliness, prevention, care, and care of the sex. Islam emphasizes on knowledge, support education for all. Islam educate for women's rights, education, economic participation, and protection from violence, contributing for gender equality. So, there are so many other, as a Federal Minister for Religious Affairs of Pakistan, allow me to highlight our efforts in translating religious values into peace building and sustainable development. Interfaith harmony policy has been approved by federal government, and in accordance with this policy, forums have been established at the federal, provincial, and grassroots level. These forums enable leaders of various faiths to resolve tensions and foster mutual understanding. The second, the government of Pakistan has taken clear steps to preserve the rights of religious minorities, including restoring places of worship, ensuring their inclusion in public services, and enforcing laws against hate speech and religious discrimination. The third is Pakistan took a historic step by opening the Kartarpur corridor, allowing Indian Sikhs pilgrims visa-free access to one of their holiest sites. The initiative is a living symbol of Pakistan's commitment to religious freedom and regional peace. The fourth, we are working to ensure that our school curricula promote tolerance, empathy, and respect for all religions. Our revised curriculum will include lessons on the peaceful teaching of all major world religions. Pakistan National Action Plan included a comprehensive strategy to combat religious extremism, promote moderation, and equip religious scholars with tools for peace education. Our Payam-e-Pakistan narrative, endorsed by the thousands of Islamic scholars, clearly declares terrorism and violence in the name of religion as un-Islamic. Islamic teaching on zakat, waqf, and equitable wealth and distribution directly contribute to economic justice. In Pakistan, we are reviving waqf institution and strengthening charitable network to serve marginalized community. And the seventh is Islamic. Islam was among the first religions of grant women to right to own property, seek education, and participate in society. Our government is working to ensure women's full participation in peace building and community development, guided by both religious values and constitutional obligation. As Federal Minister for Religious Affairs of Pakistan, I propose that we may establish UN-recognized interfaith peace mission in conflict zones to offer moral guidance and local mediation. The second, integrate religious leaders into national and international peace dialogue, especially in fragile states. The third, develop a global ethical guideline drawn from the shared teaching of major religions, so strengthening the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I share this August forum that Pakistan stands ready to partner with all nations, faiths, and institutions in this noble cause. We firmly believe that faith-based diplomacy, grounded in mercy, justice, and compassion, can complement political diplomacy in building a better, safer, and more sustainable world. I recall the timeless words of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Khairun nas mayyan from nas. The best among you are those who are most beneficial to humanity. Let us be our guiding principle. Let us envision a future where faith and reason, spirituality and science work hand in hand, where progress is measured not only in GDP, but also in human dignity, ecological balance, and the well-being of generation yet to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for highlighting many of the Islamic values related to sustainable development and for all these initiatives you mentioned.
Thanks.
Dear participants, we are out of time, but however, if our distinguished speakers don't mind, maybe we request a couple of questions from audience. So, any questions? Maybe someone? I see no. So, Excellencies, distinguished guests, I warmly thank our panelists for their valuable insights. Today's discussion has shown that religions are living sources of wisdom and moral guidance, essential for resilience, ethical leadership, and sustainable development. Kazakhstan's example reminds us that interfaith dialogue is not just aspiration but necessity. As the Islamic Organization for Food Security, we also see the faith-based values as central to food security and human dignity. Let us continue uniting ethical traditions with practical actions to build a more peaceful and sustainable world. I thank you. Please, Doctor.
At the end, I would like to thank all the panelists. Thank you so much for being with us. I'd like to thank His Excellency also for co-moderating. It's been a pleasure. And I think the last thing we can say out of all the messages we heard today, that we have a lot in common. Shared values are the same. We need to go back to our spiritualities more to have, I think, a practical way of applying everything we just spoke of in this world today that needs a lot of work. We need to continue together. Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure.
I invite speakers for family photo.